Parikh is a PhD student at the School of Electrical and Electronic Engineering of Nanyang Technological University of Singapore. And his current research interests include power system operation and control, the stability of large-scale power systems, and smart grids. So we remain on the same topic. Okay, so I give you the floor.
Hi, so all can see my presentation slide? Is it visible?
Yes, it's okay.
Yeah, thanks. Hi, so I'm Parikshit and I'm here to present our work on probabilistic robust small signal stability framework using Gaussian process learning. So just a quick recap that small signal stability is basically concerned with the power system's capacity to remain in synchronism under influences of small distribution. On the left-hand side screen here, you can see a small signal stable system, and right-hand side it's unstable. A conventional mathematical approach is to look the eigenvalues of this state matrix. So here you can see there is no eigenvalue on the right-hand side of the plane. Here you can see there are eigenvalues on the right-hand side plane. So if eigenvalues are there, means real part of eigenvalues are positive, we get an unstable system response. So mathematically, we can say that maximum of real part of eigenvalue of a matrix A determines whether the system is stable or not. So this work is motivated by some of the challenges in the conventional approach I just spoke about. So one challenge is that the conventionally we calculate the eigenvalue based on reduced Jacobian. Reduced Jacobian involves matrix inversion, which brings in high computational cost and nonlinearity that we no longer can relate between the matrix entries and the states of the power system. Another one is that eigenvalues, critical eigenvalue or the eigenvalue, let's say, which is closest to j omega x is keep on changing. So let's say if we are tracking the third eigenvalue, it can become non-critical, and then non-critical 10th eigenvalue can become critical. So we need to keep on tracking all the eigenvalues together, which becomes a big set. And one more important thing is the third one is that even the smallest variation in the matrix will lead to the large change of spectrum in the eigenvalue. So a smallest change can lead to a large eigenvalue changes. So a lot of approaches have worked with the sensitivities, but the validity is local and mostly numerical. So we don't know how much disturbance it can handle. There are a lot of work which talks about probabilistic small signal stability assessment. There are methods which are numerical, of course, Monte Carlo method, faster versions of the Monte Carlo methods, quasi Monte Carlos. They require a large number of simulations, plus which will lead to high computational cost, and generally the guarantees are not provided. There are another set of methods which are analytical method, but they are complex in formulation. They rely heavily on eigenvalue sensitivity approximation, so which will come with the erronic inaccuracies. And we require input uncertainty PDF, means we require the uncertainty distribution. Most of the time it is very difficult to get a particular distribution, especially in uncertainty just like solar renewable, where we don't know which distribution it will follow. So what is our objective? So our objective is to answer precisely the question that what is the probability of any operating point or state within a given subspace being small signal stable. Let's say this big elliptical is the possible input state space. So we want to find out that what is the probability that given this green square space, the system is stable. Or in other words, that if I pick any point in this subspace, what is the probability of that point being small signal stable? So, so I dissect the key terms. So why we are calling it probabilistic? Because it is guarantee. We are providing a guarantee with a given confidence level or a probability. It is robust because it's not about stability of a point, but about stability of a subspace. And of course, stability here means in the entire presentation and the main paper is about small signal stability and small changes in the state. So this is a list of contributions. We define PRS, we provide a certificate and methodology, we complete the framework under the condition assumption that at some point of time we might not be able to satisfy the certificate. And we try to understand, more importantly, the behavior of critical eigenvalue in a state space where states vary with any given uncertainty distribution. So takeaway is that a system is said to be robustly stable with a fixed probability if a guarantee of small signal stability is provided against almost all the possible uncertainties, means within a space if a guarantee can be provided. So background is, as I said, that conventionally we model power system as a differential algebraic set where first equation presents a dynamic equation, second one is algebraic equality for load flow balances. Then we reduce by eliminating the algebraic variable y, and we land up with this short complement style system, which is a reduced Jacobian JR, which is now this B inverse is basically inverse of this matrix. That's where we lose all the interpretability and the relationship between this. This brings non-linearity, high computational cost as well. Then at any point x star, we want to check, then we need to check this maximum of all the eigenvalues. Further, to mention that calculating eigenvalues will again require a matrix operation, not to addition to this inverse involvement here. Then condition 2 is excellent if I give a point and I want to check the stability. But what if I change that point x star with some perturbation? Now, here comes important thing is that we don't know up to what perturbation the sensitivities are valid and all. Now, it can be seen through characteristic equation angle that eigenvalues are continuous function of matrix entries. I mean to say that if we do not fix the index, then we can say that any eigenvalue is a continuous function of the matrix entry which is dealing with. So our idea is to learn the critical eigenvalue behavior as a function of state, means we want to model lambda c, which is critical eigenvalue, as a function of state x. Here, because we are talking about stability, so we can restrict ourselves to lambda c to be just real part of critical eigenvalue. Now, a quick recap of Gaussian process regression. So it's a Bayesian framework, basically non-parametric. Non-parametric is important because it does not deal with a PDF per se. So if we do not have information about uncertainty distribution, we are okay with it. We don't need specific distribution informations. We can deal with it in non-parametric fashion. Used extensively in forecasting in power system as well, but not much for modeling system behavior. So we built a data set where we say that there is a state vector associated, there is a critical eigenvalue with that state vector measure. So it's an observation against an input state vector. It's a vector, so we can have multiple uncertainties together. Then a GP regression model with a noise can be modeled like this, which is this true function, our estimated observed values with noise. Now, key thing is we can select a covariance function k, and we get an analytical expression after learning, which is mean and variance at any point. Now, this is a function where I obtain a mean of critical eigenvalue. So I can say this is my prediction of critical eigenvalue at point x star. This is my variance at that prediction. So basically, we obtain a critical eigenvalue estimate as a function of state vector, and also variance, because by which I can understand how accurate or how likely my mean is closer to the real function without knowing the real function. We also use a algorithm sampling strategy called Gaussian process upper confidence bound. So when we want to learn, one way is that we select this data set randomly. We built a data set randomly m points in the state, but that's not a judicious way. So a judicious way is that we balance exploitation and exploration by selecting a x such that where this value, which is mean, plus a weighted standard deviation maximizes. So we select, and this is given with regret bounds, which we will use further. So strategy in a nutshell is that in this current state I, we select a point where this summation is maximum. So if let's say I multiply this sigma with beta, let's say beta is assuming 2, then this is plus minus 2 sigma, then I will select next turning point here. Now, when I select this next turning point, uncertainty at this point prediction will decrease to minimal, like as it is shown in the right hand side. and next point I will select here, and so on and so forth, so that I will always have a good learning. So what we are interested is in error bound, which is provided by GPUCB, which we will build as a PRS framework. So in a paper which presented GPUCB, they shown that if I have M training sample, then the error between the true function unknown and my mean estimation is bounded by this within this framework. So we convert this into the PRS certificate, saying that if maximum value of this in that state space is less than 0, then we say that the linearized DAE system, which I shown, is probabilistically robust small signal stable, means PRS, with a given probability 1 minus delta. Now beta here is a function of delta, and beta is a weight. So as you can see in the bottom, it's straightforward to obtain from this to this, that if this is this provides an upper bound on eigenvalue, critical eigenvalue like this. So if upper bound is less than 0, definitely critical eigenvalue will be less than 0. But upper bound comes with a probability of 1 minus delta, where delta is of our choosing. Now there can be a case where certificate cannot be satisfied. So we built a PRS framework saying that if first case is that, let's say certificate is satisfied, which certificate is this? So then we say that state subspace X is probabilistically robust stable with the given confidence level. What if it does not get satisfied? If it does not get satisfied, we can do two things. One is a subspace based search, means we reduce our original subspace to look for a stable subspace with the same probability 1 minus delta. It will be a smaller than original one. Another one is we reduce the confidence level. Let's say earlier we were looking for a 95% probability. Now we can look for 90 and see if the same space is stable with a lesser probability. This gives probability with which any inner point in the state space is stable. We are not quantifying the number of points which are stable, like done in many Monte Carlo based work. So results are, so this graph shows how the learning is if it's in one dimension. So I change the voltage magnitude at the third bus in the 9-bus system, and I obtain a mean and a 95% plus minus 2 sigma confidence interval around this. So as you can see that I can easily dissect the region for which in voltage the critical eigenvalue estimate is less than 0, means system is stable. Now, how does the PRS probabilistic robust stable subspace looks like? So we construct two-dimensional subspace in a generator injection, real power generation injection 1, and voltage magnitude of the same. So you can see for the red dot, the PRS is not satisfied, means the space constructed with red is not probabilistically robust stable. So what we do, we reduce it to subspace search, and we obtain the blue line, dashed blue space, where the system is stable. So here we do perform the subspace search with the same probability, but a smaller subspace is stable. Now, in a 9-dimensional space where all the generator set points, real and reactive, are uncertain, consider uncertain, and also the voltage magnitudes, we obtain the minimum and maximum values and a delta constructed a 9-dimensional subspace. Now, important is you can see that voltage magnitude values are lower than generally considered operational limit, which is, let's say, 1.05 or 1.1 pu. So we see that probabilistic robust stable may be within the operational limits and may not include the entire operational region. Also, with this diagram, I want to highlight that it is the space is a non-exclusive thing. We can construct any other space where focus is on considering larger variation in one dimension and lower in other. So we use the box type description here, but it can be extended to any other uncertainty description. And lastly, an insight in understanding how critical eigenvalues behave in an uncertain space. So this curve, which looks a very nice half cup shape, is basically an upper bound curve. Now here in learning, sigma max is of order 10 to the power minus 8. So we can say it's kind of an mean estimate only. And we see that in this cup shape, if base point is denoted by red dot in the V2 and V3 magnitude space, there is a shape, there is a corner basically, which is above the 0.00 line. Means in this corner points, we can separate it and say that for the values in this space, these values corresponding to these values, the system is unstable. So in this, yeah, just half a second. So in conclusion, we say that we propose the PRS framework. It's non-parametric, so we did not consider any sort of uncertainty distribution. We considered a box minimum and maximum limit robust kind of framework, but we did not consider that power follows a normal or beta distribution like that. We completed the PRS set framework when certificate is not satisfied by subspace search and confidence-based search. And up to for next is that how we can build this system for a larger dimension under uncertainty of various variable, and which variable affects the system, how much and how less. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for your presentation. We have a few questions. So maybe the first one I will ask is probably easy to answer, is what will happen when the system is changing? For example, in the case of the loss of a line or a generator.
Yeah, so till in this in current work, the network graph of the system is considered constant. So I'm not simulating or I'm not analyzing the condition in the uncertainty where a line is lines on and off decision is an uncertain variable. But definitely we can, as I said in future work, we can model where the network graph is uncertain, mean a position of line on and off can be considered in the uncertainty vector. Right now, currently study, we model in generator dispatch, basically in the generator dispatch uncertainty, P, Q dispatch, and the voltage magnitude of the generators.
Okay, so maybe I have a question that can clarify.
Sure.
So you use this covariance function or kernel, if you wish to compare the two different vectors X. And I was wondering how you select this function, which is important in the case of
actually, so along with Gaussian process, there comes a class of kernel functions. So what so for, as I mentioned that the eigenvalue, critical eigenvalue, is a continuous function with respect to matrix entries. So I use basically the square exponential function because of the property of its smoothness. Because I wanted a smooth function. So why I wanted a smooth function is basically precisely also coming from the first question, that I do not have a discontinuity in this space. Means I assume that when I say V2 to V3 space, all values are possible.
Yeah, so if you want to handle different topologies, you need
then I need to find a correct function, but it should not because GP is, in my understanding, GP provides me an interpretability. It need not to be a blind trial on error basis. So if I needed a smooth function, I selected square exponential. Let's say I wanted to approximate it with a linear plane, I would have gone to the linear kernel. Or I assume that if my understanding supports that function is of a quadratic nature, then I can go to polynomial of quadratic or even cubic nature. So in that, it provides a flexibility, but yes, you are correct. If this is discontinuous, I need to go for a different kind of kernel function.
Okay, and a very quick last one. You provide results on a small system. How could this approach scale to large-scale system like the Chinese?
So if we go for a large system, the complexity in GP learning and also optimization, two key factors need to understand. So in other kind of work, not in power system, but other kind of work, they have shown that GP learning regression is good up to even 1 million samples of, let's say, airline data or New York housing data and various, and there are variations of sparse data set. However, a challenging question will be how we construct an n-dimensional space in n dimension. Even so, and if you give me a space, then I think GP can handle a large system, scale very well if we do approximations such as sparse GP or big data GP. But if I need to construct an n-dimensional space from a given point, then it's a different challenge altogether, which definitely need to look into deep details.
Okay, thank you very much. I mean, we give a virtual applause to all the speakers, of course. But so you can stop sharing your screen and mute your microphone while
Thanks.
I introduce